means to be the woman she is today. Nicole, please share.
First, I just want to thank everybody for coming today. This is the 4th time that I've been asked to be a part of Joy Comes in the Morning, and it's always such a blessing to hear other women's testimony of how awesome Jesus is and how personal he really is to each of us. My name is Nicole, and I was the first girl to come to Nicole's house back in January of 2018. Here's a bit of my story of the goodness of God in my life. That even in the darkest days of sin, Jesus loved me. He paid the ultimate price for the penalty of my sin. It's always very humbling to sit back and reflect on just how far I got derailed off my path. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life searching for feelings and things that would last. My whole life, I felt a huge void and emptiness, a brokenness. I began trying to fill that void at a young age. I moved out at 17 and began to party. I slowly started to lose who I was. Around the age of 24, I began using heavy drugs, and that's when my life really started to unravel. For a short time, it seemed like drugs filled that emptiness that gnawed at me. But after multiple arrests and years of struggle, I finally found myself in jail for the last time. In November 2015, my life took a turn for the better. There was no bonding out this time. I was going to prison. I was finally forced to sober up and face reality, something I had been desperately running from. My sin had taken me so far from who I was that I didn't even know who I was anymore. The girl who once had such a bright future had ended up in prison. But it was God's mercy that I ended up there. I could have died out on the streets. Instead, Jesus met me right where I was. I spent a few years in prison where I began to do some real work on myself. I knew I had more to offer than a life of addiction. When I got out, I truly believed I wouldn't get high again, but 6 months later, I did. And I remember the overwhelming shame that came when the drugs wore off. Even though my actions didn't reflect it at that time, my heart had changed. I knew I was done. I knew I wanted something more than a life going in and out of prison. That's when I met Sandy, and we arranged for me to come to Nicole's house. Nicole's house helped me not run back to what I knew, but instead try a new way. Sandy has walked with me through the years, and I know she is always there if I need her. Words really can't describe where I am today. I have finally found that lasting feeling, and that is Jesus. I have found the certainty I was desperately searching for my entire life. The one thing that I can put my trust in, knowing that he will never leave me or forsake me. Jesus is the one who brings lasting joy. I thank him every day for this beautiful life I now have. I'm married to a wonderful husband, and I have 2 beautiful kids. They're both under 2, so they keep me pretty busy. But most importantly, I have a beautiful relationship with Jesus, and I gave him my ashes, and he has given me beauty. He is doing a work in me, healing me piece by piece as I surrender to him. Everything I've been through, I count it all as joy, because if my story can help just one person who is bound like I was find freedom through Jesus, then it was worth it. Today, I'm building my life not on quicksand like I had done in the past, but on something permanent, on Christ, our solid rock, our firm foundation. His greatness is unmatched. And I just want to end my testimony with a reminder for all of us, and that is 1 John 4:17, and it says, "Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world." Thank you.
So far, I'm reminded of, there's an old song that had the lyrics, there's a God-shaped hole in all of us. And we end up just trying to fill that with every